going to share with you guys a story today that I've never told anyone. When I was invited to speak at your July meeting about Toastmasters, I was so excited. But then, I almost didn't make it to the meeting. I was home the night before, packing up my Toastmasters stuff, preparing to join you, when suddenly I heard this incredible noise. It sounded like a freight train was coming toward me. And then all of a sudden, my house was lifted up off the ground and it began spinning and spinning and spinning. It was a tornado. And the house was dropped and landed like a thud. Ladies and gentlemen, it was at that moment that I realized I wasn't in Miro anymore. I was in a town called Melody, Kansas. And in Melody, people don't talk the talk, they sing the songs. In fact, every time they open their mouths, out come the lyrics of popular songs, whether they like it or not. I was injured when we landed. My grand piano fell on my foot. I opened my mouth to scream, and out came, "Help, I need somebody." A man rode up on a white horse, and he said, "Lady, I'm your knight in shining armor." And he truly was. He whisked me away to a hospital where a doctor attended to my ankle. But I was so worried that I wouldn't make it to the North meeting. I said, "Doctor, doctor, give me the news." And he handed me an orthopedic shoe and said, "These boots are made for walking. That's what they're gonna do." I could make it to the North meeting after all. But how? How does one get from the magical, mystical, musical town of Melody, Kansas to marvelous Miro, Louisiana? As I walked out of the hospital, my cell phone rang. "Hello, is it me you're looking for?" It was Uncle John. He wanted to make sure I would make it to the North meeting the next day. I said the only thing I could say, "I'll be there." But I still had to figure out how to get home. As I walked along the streets of Melody, Kansas, I met a lot of people on the way, but no one wanted to help me. I said to a woman, "Show me the way to go home." But nothing, she just ignored me and kept going. And then a tractor drove by, and the man that was riding the tractor waved. And I said, "Take me home down country roads." But nothing, he just waved again and kept going. And then a cricket hopped by. And the cricket seemed to understand my plight, and the cricket said, "When you wish upon a star." You didn't see that coming? A star? That's all I had to do was wish upon a star? Perfect. But there were no stars in the sky that night in Melody, Kansas. I thought about it and I remembered seeing an American flag in town square right where my house had landed. That's all I needed to do was go find that American flag and wish upon the stars on it. As I walked into town square, there was this gorgeous flag with 50 stars on it, and I wished on all 50 of those stars and said, "You're a grand old flag." And suddenly, just like that, I was back at my home in Miro. And the part you know is that I did make it to your meeting the next day. But friends, it's true what they say, that history often repeats itself. Why, just last night, we were home decorating our Christmas tree. I stepped back to get a better look and tripped over the extension cord to our Christmas tree lights. I fell, cracked my head on that grand piano. I really need to get rid of that piano. And I was out cold. Where do you think I woke up? You'll never guess. You did guess. You must be retired federal employees. You're really smart. I woke up in Melody, Kansas, and I quickly discovered that in December in Melody, Kansas, they don't just sing the songs, they sing the Christmas songs. As I opened my eyes, I could see a little snot-nosed kid named Tommy Hudson, and Tommy was poking me in the cheek and making funny faces at me. I looked at that kid and I said, "You better watch out." But he seemed to be proud of the fact that he was so dadgum rotten, and he put his hands on his hips and he said, "I'm getting nothing for Christmas, 'cause I ain't getting nothing but bad." I chose to ignore that because I couldn't think of anything to sing that was nice. So I got up and walked away. But as I walked away, I felt my head and thought, wow, I think I have a concussion. I might have to go back to that hospital where that nice doctor took care of my ankle. So that's what I did. I went over to the hospital, but when I got there, the place was packed with people and there were all these little kids. And you'll never guess what they were saying. "Grandma got run over by a reindeer." Oh no, I thought, if they're so busy taking care of Grandma, I'll never get treated for my injury. I decided it would be best to get on my way to head home and get things taken care of at the St. Bernard Hospital. Well, as I was leaving the hospital, my phone rang. Of course, it was AJ, wondering what happened to me. We were in the middle of just decorating the Christmas tree and I disappeared. I had to reassure him, "I'll be home for Christmas." And then I went along my way, and as I was walking, I thought, oh, the star. All I have to do is wish upon a star. Another starless night in Melody, Kansas. Can you believe it? Thank goodness for that American flag in Town Square. So I rushed over to Town Square, but alas, the American flag had caught on fire at a previous celebration and was no longer there. Now what am I going to do, I thought. And as if he could read my mind, a policeman standing nearby tapped me on the shoulder and said, "There's a star in the east on Christmas morn." Well, that's great, but Christmas morn, I'm thinking, Christmas morn? I got to get home tomorrow for the North meeting. And then, all of a sudden, a couple standing right by had a conversation that I overheard. The woman said to the man, "I'm dreaming of a white Christmas." And the man smiled and said, "Let it snow, let it snow, let it snow." I thought, are you crazy? That wasn't going to help my situation any, and I got even more upset because instantly, as if they had wished on a star, it started snowing. Oh, brother, this is going to complicate matters, right? But then this little girl walks up to me, precious little thing, and taps me on the arm and she says, "Santa Claus is coming to town." I looked at that kid and I said, "I really can't stay," and I raced off because I thought, this is perfect. Santa Claus can give me a ride from Melody, Kansas to Miro, Louisiana. All I have to do is hitch a ride on his sleigh. And I'm thinking, if the reindeer ran over Grandma, Santa's got to be somewhere nearby. So I rushed up and down the streets of Melody, Kansas, looking for Santa Claus. Do you think I found Santa Claus? No. You know who I found? That snot-nosed little kid, Tommy Hudson, the one that had been poking me in the cheek earlier in the evening. But let me tell you, he wasn't so cocky anymore. He was sitting on the curb crying his little eyes out. Ooh. He looked at me and he said, "I saw Mommy kissing Santa Claus." And then he grabbed me by the arm and dragged me all the way to his house, where I discovered Mommy was still kissing Santa Claus. And I overheard her whisper in his ear, "Santa baby, put a sable under the tree for me." That hussy, I thought. I decided Santa needed to be given a piece of my mind, so I marched over to him and reminded him of his responsibilities. "Do you hear what I hear?" I asked him, and he looked at me clueless. I need to be a little more specific. I said, "Sleigh bells ring, are you listening?" He looked at me this time and I knew he understood, but he said, "Baby, it's cold outside." At that point point, I was so frustrated. I felt like I just needed to remind Santa what Christmas was all about. And I said, Christmas is for children, faces all aglow. That did it. Santa took me by the arm and we went out to his sleigh. But oh my goodness, the snow was falling so heavily at this point, we couldn't see a thing. How was Santa even going to guide the sleigh? Well, he knew. He picked up the hotline in the sleigh. Okay, for the purpose of this speech, there's a hotline in the sleigh. It's a tall tale. He picked up the hotline in his sleigh and he said, Rudolph, with your nose so bright, won't you guide my sleigh tonight? And Rudolph was there in a snap. I was so overjoyed, I said, joy to the world! And we were on our way from Melody, Kansas to Mira, Louisiana. As we flew over town square and I saw all the people of Melody gathered there, celebrating the tree lighting ceremony, I bid them a fond farewell. And I said, someday soon we all will be together. If the fates allow, hang your shining star upon the highest bough. As if they could find a freaking star in that town. But have yourself a merry little Christmas now. Merry Christmas, everybody.